It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Get in the van. We're going for our Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders, not just sitting still in his car, actually on an afternoon drive today. Alan, how we doing?
Doing good, Smitty. What's going on?
Not a whole lot on my end. I'm excited to really start diving into this week. Wednesday's like the day, I feel like, where you really start diving into the week. It's the heavy practice day of the week, preparing. So this is really the day. And it's also the last day before we get week 8 football tomorrow, kicking off on Thursday night. So I feel like Wednesday's really the day that it starts to ramp up for me. So I'm excited, getting really excited. The juice is flowing for this one on Sunday Night Football. Little bit of an update, as we always do, to kind of start injury updates. Calvin Austin, full participant today. I mean, Alan, it certainly looks like he is going to make his return on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he does not. Calvin said, as long as Mike T says it's good, I'm good. And talking about that practice looked great. I think he's going to play.
I get, and a lot of people were saying, like, what does this do for Roman Wilson, who played pretty well on Thursday night? Worried about, I guess, from a chemistry standpoint with the way that the offense looked. What type of wrinkles does it add back into the offense that they've been missing the last couple games? I guess from those standpoints, anything to hit on that. Obviously, I'm not concerned about it ruining any chemistry or anything like that. I think he's an important piece of this puzzle offensively. Like, even if he's not the one getting the ball, he just does something else. He's the guy that can take the top off. He's, I think, a better route runner than a lot of people give him credit for. I don't think he's just some gadgety speed guy. But yeah, what is, getting him back mean for this team?
Yeah, speed, I think, is the big thing. I mean, look, they have a lot of good offensive weapons, but there isn't really a breakaway guy there other than him. And so I think that's an important dynamic. He's really improved as a route runner. He's definitely their best slot receiver. It doesn't fix all the problems with the wide receiver position. Man, it goes a long way. As far as how much Roman Wilson's going to play, I would assume it's going to go back to pretty minimal. I mean, I don't know how much they're going to feel like they're going to need him. And, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, like, if they trade for a wide receiver at the trade deadline, that number is going to get even lower. Like, that's if you're talking about trading for a wide receiver, that's the guy whose reps you're targeting, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. On that note, do you feel that way regardless of what level of player we're talking about? Like, even if it is just like an Alan Lazard type or something like that, just as insurance to the room, almost like a Mike Williams from last year being brought in. Do you still feel like that's the case because they did feel the need to go out there and get somebody? Or would you expect Roman to be able to at least hold that guy off in the pecking order?
I would not. I mean, like Tyler Lock, like, I don't know. Like, these guys are just better players right now. I mean, I don't know. I don't really see. I mean, if it's like a real flyer of an addition, then sure. But yeah, I mean, I think you're going to continue to see DK, Calvin, all 3 tight ends, and frankly, both running backs, and then another wide receiver probably still featured more than Roman Wilson. And I don't think it's a problem. Just is what it is.
Mentioned yesterday about getting a quarterback back. Logan Woodside was released from the practice squad, and not that it was like opened up a ton of reps. You mentioned you hadn't seen Logan Woodside back out there, but it started the speculation. Is Will Howard going to be back very soon? Could it be Thompson? Sorry, I should have really put an emphasis on saying that, but it is Will Howard coming back into the fold today with him activating his practice. So he returns in this capacity. I mean, again, like, how much is he actually going to do? Obviously saw some video of him doing some stuff out there. It's not like we're anticipating him getting game action here all of a sudden. That's why him losing the preseason sucks so much. But yeah, anything to say about Will Howard getting back into the fold?
No, I mean, he's going to do Indy, and there's video of him doing Indy up there on the YouTube channel, 2 or maybe 1 or 2 videos up from this one. There's not going to be a lot of team reps for number 3 at this time of the year. Maybe as you get on into the season, you come up with a few more. Try to give Aaron some days off. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly going to be scout team work. And I don't think scout team work is like the worst thing in the world for Will Howard, but it's nothing that's really applicable to him doing the job of the starting Steelers quarterback, which a lot of people still seem very, man, like when
I mean, you should hear comments every single day. There's at least a couple.
There are more people that believe in Will Howard than any 6th-round pick in the history of the National Football League. There were probably fewer people that believed in Tom Brady after it played like his first half a dozen games than there are people who believe in Will Howard right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
Yeah. And not that I agree with it, but I do wonder, if people feeling like this isn't as good of a quarterback class they thought it was going to be, like at least the names at the top aren't the names that we expect to be at the top or whatever, is playing into that, at least to some degree. I mean, this was going on well before the college football season even started, of course, but I'm just saying, I think it maybe even heightened it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that assessment of the quarterback class. It's not necessarily the names I thought would see at the top, but there's still a lot of names at the top. Yeah. 4 to 8 players in the top 100 pretty easily. 4 first-rounders probably. That's a good class. I don't think there's any I don't see the connection there.
I mean, again, not agreeing with it. I just wonder if that's playing any part in people thinking that way. And of course, he won a national championship at Ohio State, which as an Ohio State fan, I'm very thankful for that being the case. And wonder how much the team's success plays into it as well. I think Will Howard's a good player, but yeah, I think people have gone kind of super overboard here with the thought process of him being the next guy for the franchise. And I don't think that there's a team, let alone this team, that would agree with that assessment. There's a reason that he was taken in the 6th round.
I think in general, people go way overboard when it comes to looking at team success for a college quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech was awful. Josh Allen played at Wyoming, and they weren't any good. Ben Roethlisberger, Miami. Phillip Rivers, NC State. They weren't very good. Eli Manning, Ole Miss. They were okay. Like, you go down the list. Like, there's. In fact, I just saw a trivia question the other day. The trivia is one player who has been a college football national champion, Heisman Trophy winner, NFL regular season MVP, and NFL Super Bowl MVP. And I sat there and I racked my brain. I was going through the first-round draft picks and trying to remember. And it was Marcus Allen. There's never been a quarterback to do it all. Like,
oh wow, yeah.
Most of the guys who are hyper successful in college do not turn out to be the biggest and the best players in the NFL. And most of the most successful, you are drafting traits, not success. College success doesn't mean much, if at all, when it comes to where a player is going to be drafted.
Yeah, I would have been sitting here forever trying to, because my mind would have literally just been on quarterback the entire time.
Because it finally was like, maybe it's not a quarterback, and that was Marcus Allen.
Absolutely. The one thing that popped up on the injury report, not expecting to see, was Zack Frazier, limited with a calf injury. I know Mike Tomlin said on Tuesday there might be some guys a little bit limited, associated bumps and bruises with play, and what he normally says about that he still expects will be able to go on Sunday. I don't know. I guess Zack Frazier potentially falls into that. I don't know what to make of this. I would hope that he's still going to be out there, but limited on Wednesday. I guess it's something we got to monitor.
Well, yeah, there's 2 kinds of limited, right? The one where you come into practice and you're scheduled to be limited, and the other where you get hurt and you leave practice, and that's why you were limited. And picture on the website, great Ed Thompson, the greatest current photographer who shoots Pittsburgh Steelers games and practices, also the only one. Frazier walked out to practice with the sleeve on his left calf. So clearly this was something that was nagging him and he was limited. And I would expect he should be good to go. Something we'll have to monitor, of course. But and it was a full pads day. So definitely the kind of day where you would want to minimize anybody who's dealing with any kind of nagging injury. He didn't miss any snaps against the Bengals. I'd be really surprised if he doesn't play against the Packers.
Yeah, I think that's an important caveat and context to be added. Is this is like, the heavy day of pads. This is the big day of practice for the week. So if there is a day where you're going to be limited, this is the one to do it. We'll see what tomorrow looks like for him. All right, in terms of guys that you spoke to today, obviously we all heard from Aaron Rodgers and see the clips of Muth talking. Anything that you took away from what anybody had to say today?
Nobody other than Aaron Rodgers, really, that I talked to that I felt like I got to bring up. Aaron was interesting, asked a lot about Pittsburgh and Green Bay, obviously. Kind of gave like a different version of the same thing he said about the Jets, but like, he basically said there's absolutely no animosity, and no ill will towards the Packers. Still has a lot of good feelings about that organization. Still talked a lot about having positive nostalgia feelings for Green Bay and the team, and talked about people over there still close with. He still has a relationship with Jordan Love. And I think it's pretty clear that this is very different than the Jets game for Aaron Rodgers. And that, like, when he said things leading up to the Jets game, we were like, yeah, okay, sure. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like, we know. I mean, come on. But I don't know. This feels pretty genuine to me, that I don't really think – obviously it's going to be an emotional game, an emotionally charged event for Rodgers because of how long he played there. And I'm sure any competitor, you want to win. You especially want to win against, the team you used to play for. But I don't get that sort of undercurrent of, like, I want to shove it in their face that was very prevalent in the week of the Jets game.
Yeah. I mean, even though whatever comes out of his mouth could sound similar, he has good memories of his times in Green Bay. I understand he looks for the positive and everything. He talked about the relationships that he built in New York or whatever, and still liking some of those guys there, and they'll be lifelong friends or whatever. Okay, like that's one thing to take away from it. There was absolutely no success for him on a personal or team level that happened in New York. Green Bay, there is that positive nostalgia. There is those experiences to go back on, remember fondly. So absolutely two very different experiences for him in the two stops that he had previous to Pittsburgh. It doesn't surprise me that he's not giving any like bulletin board material like we talked about with the Jets or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, he's going to say and say the right things and everything like that. But I think that this one's easier to believe that he truly feels that way as opposed to with the Jets.
Yeah, and I think it's why he likes Pittsburgh, because it reminds him of Green Bay. Like, he has so many positive feelings about his time in Green Bay that, like, I think the draw of Pittsburgh was, oh yeah, this is like kind of what I'm used to. This is a small town where people stick around, and you got lots of tradition and historic franchise and stability at the top and all these things that are not the New York Jets, right? And I think I think that was, I mean, obviously he has an appreciation for Mike Tomlin, and that was a big part of it. But I think the city itself was a big part of the draw for him.
I mean, team's all wearing the same colors. He looks great in a Sidney Crosby sweater, by the way. Hopefully he's able to get to some more games. I want to get your thought, though, on him rocking the powder blue hat to go along with the jersey, though. Not sure that I loved that aspect of the look.
You don't like the powder blue hat?
Because he was wearing, I don't mind it in general, like on its own, but he was wearing the black and gold jersey. So like it didn't match to me. Like I feel like if he's going to rock a powder blue hat, maybe get a powder blue jersey, or vice versa. Go with the black.
It's sort of like wearing a yellow helmet and a yellow jersey and khaki pants. It's the same idea. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, hey, figure out an analogy that works specifically to this week and tie it in. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. I do. I never hated I know lots of fans really did not like the powder blue. I never hated them.
Oh, no, I didn't. No, I mean, I have I mean, not that it would fit me anymore, but I had a Jordan Stahl powder blue jersey. I like the look. I just thought it was interesting to clash the two together. But it was hilarious. I mean, the still shot that I got on my phone, he's like doing like one of his first down celebrations, and then like directly over his shoulder, Will Howard mimicking like the touchdown fist pump celebration that Aaron does. It's a great shot that got put out there, and I will definitely be using that a lot. I'm just picturing like that's another Pittsburgh Steelers first down signal going
Good old
forward.
Larry
But
Richards
looked like,
there, you know.
Looked like he had a good time, and hopefully he's able to get to more games. But yeah, I mean, that's just part of the experience that Aaron seems to really be enjoying about Pittsburgh.
And he was talking about
it.
Brett Kiesel was there with them, and he was talking about how like that is not a thing that happens everywhere. Where you have a guy who played there, what now, 10 years ago from Kiesel? Has he been retired that long?
Probably. Yeah, maybe more.
That still comes around and still lives in the town and is still like a part of the franchise that you don't get everywhere. And I think like that's part of what I think he likes about Pittsburgh. And I don't know, I've never been to Green Bay. Well, I have, but I haven't spent a lot of time there. And I don't know if I would assume that's the same kind of place, right? Where like, you know, you go play 10 years for the Green Bay Packers, you never buy a beer in that town the rest of your life, and you can make a lot of money selling used cars or whatever you want, and go on the radio and all that stuff that former pro players do to stay involved in the community after their career's over. I don't know, it feels like the same kind of place.
You could just let people park, get a property right by the stadium, just let people park in your yard for like $10 or whatever. Something like that.
That would be really fun. So when we went to New England, they gave us we got like a player card. I didn't really understand what it was, but everyone in the media got like a player card of an old Patriots player, and I got Julian Edelman, which I thought was good. But it'd be even better if you go to Green Bay, you just get your email where I'm in Dorsey Levin's backyard. That's cool. Where are you? Oh, okay, I'm over with I'm over with Sterling Sharp. Okay, yeah, nice.
I like the idea. All right. On a serious note, I had something that I wanted to bring up. We've talked a lot, and I didn't tell you. Normally, we go over topics right before we jump on here. I told you I had a question for you, but I wasn't going to tell you beforehand because I wanted your raw reaction to this, and you have no time to think about it besides being on the spot. We talked a lot about the blame being placed on Mike Tomlin, not just obviously for Thursday's game and the way that went defensively, but what it revealed, I guess, about what they have on the roster in the secondary right now and what they can and cannot do with that. How much blame do you think needs to be placed on Omar Khan, if that's the case, for going about business the way that he did and, putting together this secondary as well?
I mean, I get the sense that look, Omar's going to negotiate. Certainly negotiated that trade. Certainly negotiated the Darius Slay signing. But I feel like those kind of acquisitions are mostly Mike Tomlin driven, especially on defense.
Even from like they have obviously a pro scouts. Obviously, Andy Weidel has an influence, but even like you truthfully just think like this is largely Mike why this secondary was put together the way that was.
Yes, I do. I think you can mostly hang that on Tomlin.
Okay,
and I think it can't be described as anything other than a failure. And now it is incumbent on them to figure out what they can do to make it maybe work a little bit. I don't know what that might be. If I have to answer one more person on social media talking about why didn't they make any adjustments, I might just pop off. Because they did make plenty.
Well, I think saying on here will probably get at least one more person to tweet at you. So
yeah, I'm sure. Please tell me the defense that you wanted them to run that they didn't, because I don't know very many, and none of them worked.
Yeah. So I guess not to cut you off, maybe, but I was going to say, well, then maybe from that standpoint, obviously, like coaching wise, maybe there wasn't much in game that Tomlin could have done that he didn't try to do, but that blame could still be placed there then for this being who they go out and get and it not working.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and not, pulling the parachute cord before you get there. I mean, let's be real. They didn't cover great in the first couple weeks of the season either with the same group of guys. I know they were banged up a little bit, but like the signs were there and they were not picked up on beforehand. Like this is an accident scene now, right? Where like maybe you could have, maybe it would have been as good, but maybe you could have decided before the game that, hey, look, we thought we could do this with these guys this offseason, but look at what's happened so far. And, heck, they couldn't cover Garrett Wilson, and he was all alone with the Jets. They had no help whatsoever. They got picked apart against the Patriots, one of the worst receiving groups in the league. And it's like, man, do we really still think they can do this? And it doesn't feel like, I thought the moves made sense at the time this offseason. I'm not going to sit here and be hypocritical to say that they should have known better than to try this. I thought it looked good. The player I saw the Darius Slay I saw in film from Philadelphia has not shown up in Pittsburgh. Is that their fault for putting him in different positions and not getting the most out of him? Is he just 34 and that was the magical line that you cross the Rubicon? I don't know, but I thought the idea was sound, but clearly it is not working. And now and I hope, like we talked about yesterday, gosh, if there still isn't recognition, that's how this turns into a season-killing mistake. Like that's how it goes from like, hey, made some missteps this offseason, found a way to bounce back from it, fine, whatever. Like, I think you could make an argument that they should have been able to see this coming to a level of degree that they did not before the Bengals game.
Yeah.
And they have to see it now. And I was not encouraged on that front by the way he addressed us yesterday.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, like, words are one thing. I know that he said the same words several times, and it kind of made you think like, yes, those actions are going to match it. But like, as long as he truthfully, hopefully doesn't actually feel fully that way. And when he watches back, does see the issues that are there within the secondary. And, again, I don't know that there is something that can be necessarily done to mitigate it to a large degree. But I mean, if he truthfully feels like it was all about the run defense and the turnovers and is just absolving the secondary and their inability to cover regardless of what coverage they were playing, then yeah, obviously that's a bigger problem. The one thing that I was going to say is like, I always play like devil's advocate with myself. And then I'm like having an argument with myself and saying it doesn't make sense. Because to your point about like not having your full complement of guys, they had, obviously the opener, but then, Joey gets hurt in that game. We see Deshaun miss some time. Cleveland felt like finally they got all the pieces there for that game. That's obviously not necessarily a team that's going to test you in a massive way. And then you see the performance against the Bengals. So yeah, but like, good teams overcome that anyway. So like I can sit here and make excuses about them not having a bunch of guys that have played together very much. But at the same time, again, this is something that good defenses, great defenses, which this team should be when you look at it on paper, overcome. And it's not happening.
Yeah, it's one thing to not have an elite defense. It can't be that bad with the personnel they have.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's just obviously up to this point, it hasn't been very good. And we'll see if they can find a path towards it being better. In the other part of it, and I know, again, this is going to sound like I'm making an excuse. I promise I'm not. I don't think that there's a lot of teams that are going to test them in a way that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins do in that manner, but it's obviously something that could be what determines what exactly the ceiling of this team is. So, Devin the House from YouTube here had a question, and of course he always gives us a nice comment as well. Alan, this notes from the road you wrote got people at work asking me why I'm laughing so loud in the office. Another treat for the SN Plus subscribers. Guys, you really should do it, even if you just read the article. It's worth it. Question I have is, if Rodgers stayed another year, would it still benefit the team to draft a quarterback, or should they go elsewhere like wide receiver and just continue to, well, hey, here's Will Howard mentioned. Maybe let Will Howard develop behind him for a year, even if he didn't end up being the guy, obviously could pivot into somebody in the 2027 draft.
The reason that the Steelers targeted this draft class is that it is unusually deep in terms of talent. It's not necessarily deep in terms of absolutely elite talent. It's not like you're going to have quarterbacks taking a 1, 2, 3 or something like that. But it is unusually deep in terms of first-round talent, guys that could potentially be franchise quarterbacks. And those guys will get pushed down the draft as a result into range for the Steelers to trade up and get one. If that happens, the Steelers cannot pass it on it, no matter what else happens to this team. Even if they win the friggin' Super Bowl. Like, if you have a quarterback that you think is a franchise quarterback in range of trade up from where you're at in the first round, you have to do it. Because we saw what happens in 2022. You can't just assume that a guy will eventually fall to you. Like, that is just folly. Even, heck, they got lucky in 2022. They could have been taking Sam Howell that year. So,
Yeah.
like,
Ritter.
Yeah. Like, you this class is unique. If it plays out that way, they have to take that opportunity almost no matter what, because you don't have any idea how many years it'll be until that opportunity comes back up. And it is when there's scarcity in terms of the number of elite quarterbacks, it's really hard to trade up and go get them. You need a class like this in order to feel good about making a trade. And the Steelers aren't going to be bad. They have no intention of being bad. And so I don't think they can possibly let this opportunity pass. And I'll say this also, it doesn't really matter from a football perspective, but if you're thinking about drafting a quarterback and the draft happens to be in your town, like, come on. Like, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's a heck of a tiebreaker. Like, you know, this is happening. Like, now, maybe the class falls apart. It doesn't turn out to be what we think. A couple guys get injured. A couple guys don't come out. Hey, there's nobody there. Whatever. Then you find a plan B and you pivot. But I can't imagine them getting to the circumstance where there's a quarterback they like in trading range and not going up to get him almost no matter what else happens.
Simpson to the Steelers, restoring us to Title Town. No? All right. I was just going to say, you were talking about, uniquely deep. How nice was it for the Patriots to get the third guy on the board? And it's Drake May in 2024. Yeah. That's pretty sweet.
I mean, a lot of us had Drake May as the second guy on the board, so.
I had him as the number one. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Even better.
But another guy that, again, we'll see how long term this looks, but QB6 in that draft class was Bo Nix at 12. And at least on a rookie contract, what he's provided to Denver over a season plus at this point has been very much what they were looking for, and certainly workable for the rest of that roster. It's allowed them to move on from taking on a massive dead cap hit in Russell Wilson in a positive manner, go to the playoffs last year, and be in a pretty good position this year.
It has. I also feel like they're headed for like Browns Baker Mayfield situation where like
That's to be the
oh
question, right? It's like
okay, but
when it
what
comes
about when he
contract
gets
time.
expensive? Yeah.
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 Yep.
Do
Well,
you
that's
do you want to be the Browns or do you want to be the Dolphins? Do you want to let him go and then let him become great somewhere else, or do you want to pay $50 million for Tua?
yeah,
Both of those options suck.
tough. But we'll see. Was there something else I wanted to mention? I don't
I
think
feel like
so.
we got
Nothing.
another question in us. If you got one more in there, I mean, I'm feeling good. Let's just.
I'm looking for something else that was somewhat new here, and maybe still relevant. Let's stick with the quarterbacks here. I know Broderick talked about it. I know Aaron talked about it today. I want to get your perspective on this because I do feel like I'm seeing a little bit of a different side from Broderick this year. Maybe he's still obviously his fun-loving self and a bit goofy. I think the celebration showed that. But I think there's not saying that he was ever not detail-oriented, but I think he's very self-aware in a way that I don't know that we saw in years past. And Hemi, honestly, I don't even, Hemeheru, Hemi Haru, I don't know, said, think Broderick's celebration is an indication of him finally seeing what a great quarterback looks like and having, and just celebrating that felt exactly the same as I did in my living room. I exploded with a loud roar of work when the Steelers last TD happened. So I understand the joy. Obviously can't do it again, but in the heat of the moment, understand why it happened. Think it speaks to a bigger picture thing of how this team feels about their quarterback.
It might happen again. I'm not saying it won't happen again. Like, that's the thing. Is like, I think a lot of people came up, saw the reaction from Aaron Rodgers and thought that he was like incensed at Brother Jones. And I mean, I don't think he wants him to do it again, but you can't stay mad at him. Like, he's just such a happy-go-lucky, like, positive guy. Like, they're fine. They're now having fun with it. And also, for the record, some of our suggestions for funny return celebrations have been forwarded to the other offensive line. So we shall see. We shall see if there is an amusing act two, whether that's Aaron tackling Broderick, whether that's the other offensive lineman tackling Broderick chasing Aaron around. I don't know. I think you could see something of that. Like, dude, I posted the video of Broderick Jones talking about it Monday, and like some of the comments were like, "Cut him." I'm just like, what is wrong with you people?
That's what I was saying. I mentioned earlier in the week that people were mad about it, and you were kind of thrown off by it. Like, yeah, there were definitely people that are legitimately mad about it.
Yeah, no one is legitimately mad about it. They mostly think it's funny. I did catch that Mike Tomlin said on Tuesday that he wasn't aware of it, which I find hard to believe. But also caught an interaction between the two of them today that suggested that it was the first time they had talked about it. So maybe him and Broderick Jones, that is.
He's too busy worrying about the run defense, and that's it. That was the only thing on his mind.
That is the one thing he could not blame on the run defense.
Yeah. I will say too, just to kind of wrap up here, man, this is. I know that some of the comments would be like, "What is up with this Aaron Rodgers love fest?" But like the last thing that I want to point out, just because like obviously seeing the videos of him talking to you guys today, and like seeing ones in the past, I'm not necessarily saying like he loves this part that he has to do this part of the job talking to you guys. But there were times in the past where I felt like it seemed like he was just miserable and just had to be there. I just think this kind of still goes along with like him just enjoying himself here. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the vibe is when he's actually talking to you guys, the sense that you get, but it's a different energy that's being exuded than when I've seen him in scrums in the past.
Yeah. Calm, confident, funny, enjoying himself. I think he's like falling back in love with football. I really do. And I think there's a chance they're going to convince him to stay. I was on the radio in Green Bay today. I'm talking about Rodgers a lot, of course. I've been on their I think I've been on their station like 5 times since this whole saga started early this off season.
Yeah.
And the host, Marcus Eversole, who's really good. If you get a chance to check out any of his stuff this week, I recommend it. He's on their version of The Fan, whatever it is, 107.5, I think. And he said, well, this is going to be it for us. And I just kind of give like the old, unless. And he said,
Yeah.
and this was really the first, I was like, in Santa Clara, of all places, Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers in NoCal against the Packers in the Super Bowl. You want to talk about a storyline?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something? I'm not
Absolutely.
predicting. Have gone out of my way to not predict it. But man, just putting that out into the universe for a second felt like, woo, that's kind of spicy.
I'm not predicting it either, and but I'll admit I wildly can swing with the emotions. Sometimes I get caught up as a fan. Had they won on Thursday night, maybe I would be predicting it right now. However, because they lost that one game, especially the way that they lost it, I'm not going to predict it. Now, if they go out and beat the Packers on Sunday night,
this is something that I want. All right, this is okay. I want to talk about this tomorrow, but I'm going to leave this for the comments tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers have not played a great team yet.
Yeah.
Does a win against the Packers change your outlook for the season? Is this team good enough that beating them matters to you a lot in the end projection, or is this just another game against is this just the Patriots or the Vikings?
Yeah.
Or, I think that's a very interesting thing to talk about as we come into this game. So let you guys discuss it in the comments, and then we'll pick a couple of years and we'll talk about them tomorrow.
I'm excited to talk about this, though, because I was ready to put out a tweet when they were struggling with the Cardinals. Like, man, I'm not sure that I love that the Packers haven't really played great football on both sides since like week 2. Obviously, the offense put up 40 in that tie against Dallas, but like we talk about complimentary football on both sides, we haven't seen it a lot from the Packers this year, the team that I expect them to be. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Let us know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll get to some of them, talk about some of them. Of course, if questions are within that, we will answer some of them as well. Alan, until then, tell the people they can find you.
Hey, Saunders _PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now, the site's account, SteelersNow.com. Sign up, as Devin the House did, for SN Plus, and you get access to my notes from the roads call, which are my favorite thing that I'm currently writing. I got to be perfectly honest. They're just long, random, non sequitur rants that
sometimes profanity laden,
include football, and sometimes don't. Ad free, subscribers only live stream coming up Monday at 5 p.m. Me, you, and DB. Set your reminders in your calendar. As soon as you get out of work on Monday, flip up the old YouTube and put on the three of us. We'll have our subs only live stream. If you're not a member, get over to SteelersNow.com, hit the membership tab in the top right, sign up. It's less than $5 a month, and it's awesome. That's what it is. We have some new shout outs down here in the bottom scroll. 3 new subscribers this week. We love it. Keep it up, guys. And I think one from Tennessee and one from Nevada. So keep spreading the word about Steelers Afternoon Drive. Anyone can like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. That's free. Helps us grow this show and all the rest of our shows. Speaking of which, shift me and Morrison 18. But yeah, hit that bell, like, subscribe. We get the whole thing going. And where are we at, Smitty? We're closing in on 17,000.
We are closing on 17,000. That's the number I want to hit. By the way, it also updated while we were doing this show, because I was going to say, going to be very hard to get another 90 that is not TJ Watt in here, but 16,800 and Aaron Smith, 91, although probably too good for what we typically do here. I'd say the same about to it, though. Yeah. Too good. Oh, Preston Smith last year, 91.
There you go. Very
short-term stealer.
Very random 91. Yeah. Trying to go way back here. I mean, Kevin Green, of course, another great RIP. Hall of Famer. Didn't talk about the Hall of Fame today either. Pouncey, Harrison Ward, Gary Anderson, all advanced in Hall of Fame voting. Still got a long way to go. 91. I mean, I feel like I've used these guys before. Craig Vesey was like a linebacker in the early 90s. It was and maybe like Tyrone Stowe was a defensive tackle. Those are the guys that come to mind from 91 back then. And I think I've talked about Tyrone Stowe had like a extra point block return or something crazy like that. Field goal block return for a touchdown, something like that. Big guy, the old thick six there. Although maybe it was a thick one if it was an extra point return. And then I'm trying to think of like a who would have been like right before Aaron Smith, 91. But I'm having a real hard time coming up with who that might have been. Justin Kirpakis, was he 91 or was he 90? He might have been
whoever
90.
that is.
He was 90. He's a Penn State linebacker, played a lot of kickoff coverage. I can't remember who would have been right before Aaron Smith. You got to think the 91s, like those numbers are 90 numbers are always in circulation. There had to be somebody.
So Aaron Ward from 99 to 2011. Gerald Williams, you mentioned Craig Vesey, Israel Raybon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was another short-term guy. Gerald Williams, I remember, is 57, but he might have had two stints.
Yeah, it just listed an 89.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Gerald Williams was a good player. Played opposite Greg Lloyd. Really fast edge rusher.
Yeah.
They had a Gerald and a Gerald Williams at the same time. Gerald played interior defensive line, and Gerald played edge rusher.
Also, you mentioned the SN Plus subscribers by name. We got Christian Toth, Andy Hepp, and then Gary Boatman, last but not least, who I replied to Alan saying, Gary Boatman, greater than Gary Bettman. So we appreciate you, Gary. And Andy and Christian, but I use Gary's name for a joke here, so he gets an extra shout out.
There you go.
All right, good stuff. So yeah, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell here. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe over there. You can also drop a question over there in the comments over there when you leave a 5-star review. All that good stuff. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive. Do the same thing on TikTok, and then you'll find me everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH, Aaron Saunders, and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.